This video is sponsored by Cake Wallet, the easiest open source wallet to store Bitcoin, Monero, and Litecoin securely on mobile and desktop devices. When buying, selling, and exchanging crypto or trading for gift cards, Cake Wallet ensures privacy and security, giving you the keys to your coins. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Randi Hipper Show. I'm your host today on a lovely Wednesday, and we are talking about everything you need to know about the latest news in crypto and just the utter craziness that we're going through and what we expect for the rest of 2024. If you guys are here, make sure you smash a like, subscribe, share the stream out with friends so more people know what's going on. Hello to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys are checking out our lovely sponsors, both Cake Wallet and eToro. Sign up and get $10 on them. I'm going to waste no time. We have Rob from Digital Asset News, and I love him so much. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Randy, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me on.
I love having you, man. And I love your backgrounds all the time. They're so nice and vibrant. What's the weather like by you?
Well, this is a green screen. It's all a green screen.
Yes, that's true.
And I pay these guys on Fiverr. I mean, they kind of rip me off because it's $10, it's not $5. And it's really good. I mean, and sometimes I'll say, hey, I need you to have people walk through, and they'll do that. So yeah, it's nice. But we are in Puerto Rico. I mean, the wife, and it's beautiful here. It's 70 degrees in the morning. It's roughly 78, 80 in the afternoon. And then it goes down to 72 at night. And then it just starts over and over again. And it's always like that 24/7, 365, except for the hurricanes. And that part kind of sucks. But besides that, everything's pretty great here.
Is it humid? Because in New York, when it's hot, it's humid, it's sticky. Is it like that over there, or is it nice?
No, well, in New York when it gets 90, 95,
yeah,
and with the humidity, it's unbearable.
Yeah.
Right? And everything's sticking. But here it never gets that hot. It'll get 85, 84, but it doesn't really feel like that humid, even though we are essentially an island. But no, not too bad.
That's beautiful. And you still walk the dogs, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, we still do the daily walks. I mean, but on Sundays we go to the Amigos de los Animales, and we do the walks on Sundays for all the shelter dogs. Now I haven't done that in a while because I had a little issue with my spine, but we'll get back to it at some point.
Are you okay? Are we okay, Rob?
I'm standing upright, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you look good.
Yeah, you're like, hey, you look good for someone who's almost paralyzed. No, I had a herniated disc. This is thing that you have to deal with when you get older, Randy. Okay, so you're just about to hit 21, so don't worry about this stuff right now. But as you get older and you keep lifting these heavy weights, and at some point you just kind of blow your back out. That's what it is. But I'm fine now. Everything's good. We're just here.
What is it? What is that really like? What's a herniated disc? What happens there?
So you have your spinal column, bone. In between those two spinal columns, you have in between the vertebrae, you have this spongy material, essentially, right? And that's your shock absorber. So there's an outer layer, and then there's an inner layer, which is think of it like just a gel. And if you put too much pressure on that at some point, and you're lifting way too much, then sometimes it'll rupture. And it'll go out and it'll put a lot of pressure on your nerves, more specifically your sciatic nerve, which goes down your leg, and it causes you a massive amount of pain. But of course, it's almost I guess it'd be like dealing with the SEC every day. That's pretty much what it feels like. It's just constant pain. Then you don't know what you should really do because they don't really give you the best guidance. And then of course, over time, hopefully you win. But that's where I'm at right now.
Wow.
I'm kind of like Ripple. Yeah, I'm kind of like Ripple. It was a real pain in the A for quite some time, and now I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I beat it.
I don't know if Ripple's doing too good nowadays. It's very iffy on that front, but I definitely think that you need to get better and definitely, keep stretching, do the appropriate exercises, whatever you need to do to keep going, Rob, because we need you. We need you in your green screens and standing up and have your tennis ball in your hands all messing around over here. I'll miss you. You can't leave us. Can you promise you'll never leave me, Rob?
No. Well, I can't because I'm going to tell you why, because I talked about this on my show. And I said that once we get to the point where we get a really crazy blow off top bull market, which is coming, right? I don't know if it's going to be 8 months or 16 months or however long it's going to take. But at that point, I did a video, and it's in the description of all my videos, where I say, these are the indicators of when I'm going to sell 80% of all my crypto. And we take a look at the MVRVZ score. We take a look at the PO multiple. We take a look at a host of different things. And at that point, I sell 80% and I leave the channel. And from that point on, for the bull market, I don't come back until the bear. Because I'll be honest with you, in the bull market, that's when all the shenanigans happen, right? That's when all the FTX, that's when all the Voyagers and the Celsius, which I had those numbskulls on my channel multiple times. And of course, it's when things fall apart because people get ahead of themselves. So people need you, Randy, to kind of calm them down. They don't need me when everything gets overheated. But I think what people do need is they need people like us in the bear market to go, all right, look, you didn't take as much profits as you should have. And there's some problems, but you can bounce back. This is where all the money's made. And that's where I think I'm needed most. It's not in the bull market.
Wow. I completely disagree. We need you all the time, Rob. You're just a shining light in this space. You're just an honest man that does what he needs to do.
That's why I got you, and you can take over my channel. See?
Listen, at least it looks like you got a fresh haircut. That's really all that matters. And, I think, Solana needs a haircut. Like, it needs to freshen up a little bit because, like, what happened the other day? How do you feel that it was the 11th outage for Solana? Like, what are we doing here?
First of all, well, I'll tell you this. Like, I did a show, like I think everybody did a show on the Solana outage. And it's funny because, like, you can tell the people who own Solana, myself included, and the people who absolutely despise Solana, because once it goes down to like, see, I told you that thing sucked. But then if you're a Solana holder and a believer, you're like, nah, come on, just one outage. It's just one outage for like 5 hours, no big deal. And like on my show, like I always talk about diversification, right? You got to diversify. I don't know what's going to be the biggest thing. I do know one thing. I think I know one thing. I think Bitcoin is the standard and it'll be here for as long as we will allow it to be. I think it's been battle tested over 15 years and you can't compete with that. And that's why I think the traditional finance gets into it because like, look, we've taken a look at all these things that are going on. We've taken a look at the hacks. We've taken a look at the shutdowns. We've taken a look at the limited technology. And Bitcoin's been around forever. I mean, in simple terms. So we're going to get into that. But I think that with Solana, and I said it yesterday, people were like, if you own Solana, why do you talk negatively about it? Because it's called balance. If I'm going to talk about how good the DEXs are and how cheap they are and how fast the transactions are, and we're all celebrating it because I'm going to at least come out and say, hey, you can't do that. You can't be a layer one solution and shut down for 5-6 hours. You can't allow that to happen. You can't give us like that bad reputation moving forward. And people say, it's no big deal. It's like 5 or 6 hours. I'm just telling you, don't come crying to me and say like you shouldn't say anything FUD-wise. It's all balance. Once this thing goes on the other side and they've figured it all out, I'll be the first one to say they knocked it out of the park. But until such time, you got to give people all the information that they should have.
And it's not even fudding. Like, I don't even know why anyone would say you're fudding Solana when you're just talking about what actually happened. Like, yeah, it was down for 5 hours. Yes, that's insane because if you have real estate deeds, if you have gaming assets on there, they're worth thousands of dollars, and you go to try to access your important documents, your important data, and you can't do anything with it, then what's the point of having the blockchain? Because the devs got to go fix it now. How many times are the devs going to fix it before they can't fix it? What happens if they don't fix it? I don't know if that crosses anybody's mind.
I don't know, but I got to tell you, if like you're a huge believer in whatever chain that is, well, two things. First of all, people point out to me, they go, hey, don't forget that Arbitrum was down not too long ago. Avalanche was down. There's other projects that have been down. No one talks about that. I'm like, I didn't even know about that. But if they do go down, please remind me on X so I can talk about it, because if I own it, I'll definitely talk about it. You know why I'll talk about it is because if you think of it this way, this is the second part. If I talk about your project, I say negative stuff about it, and for some reason somebody listens to me and they actually sell it, isn't that good for you? Because now you're like, oh, thanks, Rob. I get to get this at a lower price because I believe in this project so much that it went down, and now I get to pick it up. I appreciate you. Tip of the hat, sir. And off you go. So for me, I'm just like, if I talk negatively about your project, that's good for you because you can pick it up for cheap because you know it's going to the moon. At least that's what you say it is. So I'm just here to clarify that. That's all.
Yeah, and I think whatever your opinion is, you should be able to have it. And I don't think anybody should be basing financial movement based upon what anybody says. I think everybody should have an opinion. They should listen to you. They should listen to me. They should listen to everybody out there. But it should come down to their own research and what they think is right for their portfolio. Okay, if Solana goes here or Solana goes down, like what am I going to do then? If the actual blockchain isn't there, am I going to be upset if one day the devs cannot fix it and all my assets are on that blockchain and I can't bridge them off, or I can't get the value from them. Like, I think there's a lot of questions that people don't ask because they're caught up in the green candles. Solana was at like what, $7, ran all the way back up to about 100, and that's why people are losing their minds, because they're like, oh yeah, this thing isn't dead. SPF didn't kill it. Meanwhile, how much does Solana, does FTX still own? A lot. They're staking a lot. So there's a lot of VC backing. And I think even, I don't know if you look at mainstream media too much, but if you look at the mainstream media, they have like on the screen Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Solana. So you have like a lot of like VCs that are probably, you know, pumping that up, getting that on the screen. And then when it goes down, it gives crypto such a bad look because this one coin that's on TV all the time just doesn't freaking work. Like, I don't know. Do you think it gives us a bad reputation?
Well, I mean, like, I think when people look at that and they say, why does that break? And but here's well, let me back up. Think of it this way. If the people that are watching the mainstream media, most of those people are not big crypto supporters, or they're not big into crypto or digital asset or Bitcoin investing. Maybe some are. But I think maybe if they look at that and they're like, wow, it was down 5 hours. I wonder if they look at that and go, you know, my bank, just to do like an ACH wire transfer, takes 48 hours, and these guys are complaining about 5. Maybe that's not too bad, actually. Maybe I should look into that, because maybe they look at that and go like, maybe it's not that bad. Of course, some people it doesn't matter what you say about digital assets or Bitcoin. They'll just say it sucks anyhow, and it's worthless, and it's a Ponzi scheme and tulip mania and all that nonsense that Peter Schiff spouts for no good reason. But yeah, I mean, it could give us a little bit. But I think when people hear like 5 hours down, it's not too bad. It's actually not too bad. It's bad for us because we're not used to that. But in the traditional finance world, that's like, oh, here's another thing. Like for the stock market, and people in the comment section, please correct me, but I believe like in the traditional markets, if price action goes too far one way or the other, doesn't the traditional market just shut down for a specific amount of time? Yeah.
Halt.
So in that situation, like, oh, they should be used to it. Maybe that's why traditional finance is so interested in Solana. I'm just kidding. But, yeah.
I mean, listen, you see NYCB, New York Community Bank, the stock was getting halted. And it's just a lot of manipulation. I think that happens in TradFi where, you know, it's a lot of like, watch what they do, not what they say type thing. Like Peter Schiff, he could talk all the smack he wants, but go on his website. What payment does he accept? Bitcoin. And his son is all over Bitcoin. So that's a whole PR stunt on its own. He wants a lot of attention, Peter Schiff, and people give it to him because he says things that triggers them. And then, you know, you have like the JP Morgans of the world. They're like, oh yeah, let's shut down Bitcoin. Let's shut down crypto if we have the ability, but then go and partner with BlackRock to be an AP for their ETF. So a lot of it does not make sense. And I think the media just tries to put out like these little hits on crypto when it's a complete double standard. I don't know. Yeah. How do you feel about people saying the bankers saying one thing and enjoying crypto on the other hand?
It's, you know, like before I got into crypto, I never really thought about it because, and that's, I think, the beauty of getting into Bitcoin and everything else is because like inflation, like before getting into crypto, did any of us really like, we understood like, oh, prices go up, right? But do we ever really think about it and go, oh, it's because of the Federal Reserve? And they're about as Federal Express. I didn't know that. And then, oh, so quantitative easing, and they keep printing things, and they just do that, and it's not backed by anything. That doesn't make any sense. That's not my country, is it? And before you know it, you start to go down this rabbit hole, and then it becomes. In all honesty, no one teaches. I can't say this, but when I was growing up a long time ago, no one was teaching this in school. You didn't learn any of this stuff that you really need to know as far as finances. I mean, it's great. I learned algebra, and it's great. I learned history and all that stuff. Fantastic. But I mean, on things that really would have helped me, it just was absent. And it's not surprising because getting into it now, you realize like it's a dirty, filthy game out there. I mean, Jamie Dimon comes up and he says, you know, and he stands before Congress, or he goes up on MSNBC and says, hey, this is like the worst thing for illicit activity, and it's just awful. Meanwhile, there's this really great meme that's all the different articles of all the JP Morgan nonsense that they've been doing as far as like spoofing of metals and actually being Jerry or Epstein's banker. everything besides that. And they're like,
Gross.
well, I mean, that's kind of funny. And then just like you said, you know, JP Morgan stepping in to be for the BlackRock ETF, or excuse me, for the other institution ETFs.
Yeah, a lot of them.
So yeah, so it's just a funny thing how things work. But now that we know, that's why we're in this space, I think.
You know, I think it's very true that even school, like you look at back at school, one, who writes the history books? That's a nice question. And how do they manipulate that? And then two, where is the real life education? When my dad was younger, and, you know, you could even see it in like, you know, because the schools in New York were built like 5,000 years ago. And you could see like old parking garages where they had like actual cars for kids to work on when my dad was in school. And then when I was little, I used to go into like this storage room or whatever. And there were actually ovens in there because they were teaching cooking in school and basic like how to make things. So where is that education? Like, where is that real life application? And I think they just don't want us to know, because it could actually benefit us, and we're not structured to like work a 9 to 5 and like sit at a desk all day. I just feel like the real life stuff is very much missing from the youth for a very long time.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, just look at investing, and just look at the appreciation of everything around us, right? I mean, your generation has it really bad, Randy. I'll be honest with you. Like when I was growing up, like in my 20s, you can get a reasonable house for, you know, around 150K, 175K. And that was really pushing it, you know? And then of course the rates, I mean, you're looking at, I mean, rates in like the late 80s were still relatively high. Let's not say it wasn't, you know, it was at some point it was like 10, 11%. Then they started to tumble, but it doesn't matter because like, well, it matters a little bit, but the housing prices and everything else that was out there was so low, you could actually support a family by one person working. And like, that's why when you watch like old sitcoms, just anybody here who's watched this in like from the 80s, even 90s, and you're telling me that there was one guy and he works and he's got a family of 4 and he was able to do all that stuff? There's no way that's even possible. Just take a look at The Simpsons. Homer works at one power plant. Marge stays at home. They got 3 kids, and he's able to have this nice house and everything. I mean, it's the same thing going around. Like, you guys have it probably the worst. I mean, the median average house in America right now is between, I think it's around $434,000. That's the median cost for a home. I don't know what it is in New York.
That makes me sick.
And of course, but I mean, that's just how it is. So moving forward, I don't see it getting any better. And that's why I think people look towards Bitcoin and crypto and go, hey, how do I get myself out of the system? Because it's very difficult to actually have anything appreciate. Now here we are.
100%. There, you know, $1 million, my family used to talk about $1 million generational wealth. And now that's not generational wealth. I saw, you know, houses in my neighborhood where like a mansion in Brooklyn like would be like a few $100K back in the day. And now it's just a tear down, literal tear down, a little lot that's like, you know, maybe, I don't know, not even like very small tear down house, like a little 1-level house, is millions of dollars. Just for a piece of poop. Like, there's nothing there to it. Like, you have to rip it down. You have to make sure you start all over. And then by the time you're second done with it, that's at least $5 million at the least. So, and you know, the lumber yards burning down throughout the pandemic. So like everything is just so sky high that, you know, kids my age, it's so hard to go out because let's say you want to go from Brooklyn to Manhattan, take an Uber. That's at least $80 minimum. And then you go out. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And then you go out and let's say you want to head to a bar. You want to go have a little adult beverage with your friends. It's at least $20 a beverage. And then you got to take another $80 Uber home because you're not taking the train at night. So it's like at least a $300, $400 night out just to go out from, let's say, 6 p.m. to midnight. And I think that's kind of insane. It's something that people just cannot do. Like basic nights out with your friends that like everyone used to go hit the, like in Saturday Night Fever, like hit the disco and stuff like that. That's not even a thing anymore. People can't afford to do that. It doesn't even exist.
Yeah. Have you seen, there's this website. It's the name is pricedinbitcoin21.com. Have you taken a look at that? Check this out.
Oh, is this priced in Bitcoin 21? Okay, let me look at it. Is this where like you look at everything that you would have bought back then and what it's worth now?
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, I see this. Okay.
If you enable the screen or show it, you can show people. Like, so I
Yeah.
want to show them what I want to show them is just how far Bitcoin's come. And actually, if you want to show this to your friends, to orange pill them, I think this is like one of the easiest ways to do it, quite honestly. Okay.
Okay.
So right now, go into there should be, the very top. Go to the very top, and there's housing on the far right next to wages. Click on housing. And that, you see where it says United States median new home?
Yeah.
New house. Click on that. And then over here, click on 5 years.
Here?
Sorry. Yeah, click on the upper left-hand corner where it says
Oh,
961.
I see that. Okay. Yeah.
Now what I want you to do is click on fiat in the bottom right-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want you to click on unclick sats, which is the fourth one next to it. It goes fiat, percent, log scale, and sats. Because I want you to denominate everything in Bitcoin, not in Satoshis, real quick.
Yeah.
And what you can see is you glide that over. Like, start on the far left. Because what it's showing you is the new house price. And we're looking at March 1st, 2019, or whatever that says right there.
Yeah.
310,600, right? And how many Bitcoin?
81 Bitcoin.
Right. Now go all the way to the far right. What's the new house price?
$418,000, and the Bitcoin is 9.61 Bitcoin.
So again, like what it shows people, and they can do this in everything. They can do this in the S&P 500. They can do it in auto. They can do it in gold. They can do it in orange juice. They can do it in eggs. It doesn't really matter. And you can just see that over time, just how things have appreciated. And I don't think they've appreciated in value. I think they've just been inflated away.
Exactly.
And
yes.
you can see a pretty good example. And like here, okay, so this is something to show people. And then also, let me I'll share a great little story with everybody about how I screwed up.
Yes, do share.
Do me a favor. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, let me give you permission really quick.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. So me and the wife love real estate. We've been in it for decades, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's a very safe play, right? Especially like if you're doing like depreciation of assets and using it on your tax forms, then generational wealth, things like that. But check this out. This is Ben's website. I steal from him all the time. Don't tell him. So like if you go to like tools and DCA strategy, and this part is actually free. You can do this. And I've showed this on my channel many a times. And it'll show you like if you DCA an equal amount or lump sum. I'm just going to click lump sum. On July 24th, 2020, we put down $260,000 on a condo here. And we've been renting it out at Airbnb. It's a pretty good play, right? If you think about it for investing. Okay, yeah. Long-term appreciation. You also get the funds in Airbnb. There are tax advantages, but it is a hassle, especially when you have to like, the cleaning people don't show up, or there's an issue with something with the sink and you got to do something with that. So check this out. So we dropped 260,000 in. If we would have, and then we just sold it for 350,000, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. However,
no, it's not. It's not, because if I would have put this into Bitcoin, hold on, let me get this out of here. Well, actually, I'll show you. I'll do a very degenerate thing. Let's say I did 260,000. I put it into Bitcoin, right? Or Solana or XRP or ADA. If I would have done that, I would have $46,862,903 in Doge, 11 million in Solana, 8 million in BNB, 3 million in ADA, and 1.5 million.
That's insane.
Into that. I'm telling you right now, I would never, ever have put it into anything else but Bitcoin because it's the safest play. And remember, this is in 2020. So this is July 2020. This is right after the halving.
Yeah,
So
right
we had the
before the
halving
big
around-
run.
Right. So it was May. So May 11th was the halving of 2020. And now here we are. Now, if I would have just been like, let's say something happened to me, I fell asleep at the wheel and I'm like, whatever. Bitcoin, I'd still have 1.6 million over here on November 7th. I think that will be the peak of the peak, right? And of course, all these other things. If I still would have screwed up and I just said, you know what, I'm going to diamond hands this and I'm over here, I would still have $1.1 million in Bitcoin.
Wow.
So when we take a look at that and I say, I did a great thing and we went 260 to 350, not really. And that's just a good lesson for people when they're like trying to denominate into Bitcoin and take a look at what's the best investment for them. Now, this is not financial advice. Everything could have gone sideways with that, right? I could have put into Bitcoin and then for some reason, I don't know, Craig Wright is unmasked as Satoshi Nakamoto or Vladimir Putin is Satoshi, or there's a double spend or something happens with all the miners or there was like an AI takeover on Skynet and Terminator. I don't know. So like it maybe not have worked for me. But in that situation, historically, it would definitely would have. And now that we're right up on the precipice of the next halving, this is a time to really think about it. Of maybe if you're on the sidelines, maybe to put $10 in. I don't know. I can't give you financial advice. Everybody's listening.
I mean, DCA is a really great strategy. And of course, we always could look back at like what we missed, what we dig into. And I think it's really what's best for you at the time. And I think a lot of people kind of miss the point of using Bitcoin as a currency too, in a way, like where if you're investing in Bitcoin and you go and we run up and you make like a 3x, let's say on Bitcoin, or at least doubled what you had. And you want people just don't really take profit because they're like, oh, I don't need it right now, but I also don't have enough fiat to live. And I think a lot of people should, if they need to, Bitcoin's a currency, you're meant to live off of your investments, if you could go that route, right? So I think you also have to take into consideration some friends out there, do I need this to live? And it's okay to use it to live if that's what I'm investing for. You're investing so you can live a better life. So I think some people have to change their mindset on profit taking just a little bit.
No, you're right. Well, you're right because, and if anybody reads the white paper, it doesn't say anything about a hedge against inflation.
Exactly.
It doesn't say anything about Gold 2.0. It is a peer-to-peer transaction. And that is exactly what it was written for. It's 9 pages. It's very short. I encourage everybody to read it. Because when people are saying you should never use that, I'm like, that's not the intention of what it was originally put out for. I know people will say, but I'm going to diamond hands because this person does it, and I'm here to disrupt the system. I get it, but if you're here to disrupt the system, then use Bitcoin for transactions. Yep. You don't have to use the bank and get out of it.
I think do you think that real estate is still a solid investment? Do you still trust in the real estate market as a whole?
Yes. Unfortunately, because we've been doing it for so long. Actually, we were just driving back and we were going down the street and my wife's like, look at that property. That one's up for sale. Maybe we should take a look at that. I'm like, no more property. We're good. We don't need anything else. And then actually, because with this sale, I actually showed her what I just showed everybody here for the DCA of the property. I said, look, if we would have done this is where I would have been. So maybe it's a good idea instead of just rolling it back into more property, maybe we put a little bit into Bitcoin and digital assets.
And how's your wife feel about that? That you rather, put your money in Bitcoin rather than buy another property that she might want to use for herself, Rob? She sees the house. She's like, I want that too.
My wife trust me, she's doing way better than I am. She's actually the brains. She's actually the brains of the operation. So when she's like, well, I want to do this, I'm like, go right ahead. And actually she's as much real estate as we do. She does even more, and even more than what that is, she actually does loans. And I think, and one of these days when I get off, when I'm actually on hiatus from the digital assets, I will actually do a video on loans and the process for that and why it's actually a pretty safe endeavor.
Really?
Again, but this is in fiat. This is not in crypto. This is not like a Celsius kind of crazy play. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have the legal documents. You have to have collateral, and you have to go through the steps. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's very dangerous. But if you do, it's actually pretty lucrative.
Loans scare me. The word loan just scares me. I don't know. I'm like scared about loans. Like, how do you know if you're going to pay it back? Like, is there a certain time, the interest, like everything just scares me about loans.
That's why, and this is the thing. Remember Voyager?
Yeah.
So I talk about Voyager all the time. I love Voyager. I love that. I loved it. I had Steve Ehrlich on at least 4 or 5 times. Did my due diligence and everything else. You know who else did his due diligence? Mark Cuban from the Mavericks. And he introduced Ehrlich and said, this is the company that we're going with for all the crypto. Okay, so that didn't work out. And the reason why it didn't work out is because it was a public company, they have to register all their, file all the different forms because of being a public company. And there was a $640 million loan. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it said uncollateralized. And as soon as I saw uncollateralized, I put out a video. I said, look, I don't know what they're doing, but they're not doing good business practice. You cannot keep you need to take everything out of Voyager. I said, you can still use Voyager if you want to, but you got to take it all off on the cold storage. And 2 weeks later, it actually collapsed. And it was because of that one document why we knew it was bound to fail. And that's, of course, I believe it was the 3 Arrows Capital, which those guys are still not in jail right now, as a matter of fact.
No. It's just like I feel like a lot of these things were just like they let a lot of them happen to make crypto look bad versus like, because we know Gary Gensler had meetings with SBF and all these people, and they come after the most obvious actors like Binance that are actively complying with every single thing that they ask for, and even Kraken and Coinbase, like all these people that are so compliant, they choose to come after them. But then when all these bad actors were just out here, it was like they were able to just like dance in the fields, like woohoo, and do whatever they want until all of a sudden it was a little too late. Then they get to go on the run and just waste all this time and PR stunts and just write another headline. Okay, this guy's going to jail today. Okay, this guy has a trial today. It's just a mess. I think it's a lot of PR, in my opinion. I think a lot of it's acting.
Well, it's a good actor. I mean, they're pretty good at. Gary's a pretty good actor, and
he's a great one.
I don't know if he's going to be around for that much longer. We'll see. It depends on who gets into the White House after the election this November. Matter of fact, so we'll see.
How do you feel like, because we only have really RFK. I don't even, is Ron DeSantis still running? I think Ron is still in the race, or did he drop out?
I think he dropped out. I'm pretty sure he supported. Yeah, I think he supported Trump.
I think he dropped out recently. Yeah, okay, so I didn't miss that. So, we had Vivek, we had Ron, they're out, and all we have is RFK. He's running as an independent, which I guess is very much difficult because he doesn't have the political backing of either party, which I think is BS anyway. And then we have Donald Trump, which this man is putting out ordinals, Polygon NFTs. His wife was on Solana. So, why hasn't he mentioned Bitcoin on this campaign trail? Yet he just mentioned CBDC, saying, they're so bad, we won't have them. I don't know. Are you bullish on the election? What are your opinions here? I'm scared. We need a Bitcoin president.
I'm always under the impression that you trust the devil you know, not the devil you don't know. But it's a funny thing. We know both devils because we know what Biden's doing, and we had Trump in there, so we know exactly what it is. I'm not a very political channel because there's 2 things I don't like to talk about: religion and politics.
Well, like crypto related. You don't have to say you're endorsing this one, but like crypto related. Do we have hope?
I don't think. First of all, I don't think anything can get. This is the famous last words, and I'll say this: I don't know if we can get any worse than Biden as far as with crypto, because him and most of the Democrats, not all of them, they really don't like crypto. Senator Elizabeth Warren is one of those people, despises it. Not to say that there are not Democrats who actually get it. They understand. Some do, the smart ones do, and the other ones don't. So it's a funny thing, just like you said, because Donald did ordinals, he did NFTs, so he knows what they can do. But he has said multiple times, he's like, I like the strength of the dollar. The dollar should be the world reserve currency, not anything else. And I remember there was a recent interview with Anthony Scaramucci, And he said, look, he goes, if you think Donald Trump's going to be great for crypto, he goes, you got another thing coming. And there's one person that knows Donald. It would be his former press secretary.
It'd be Scaramouche. I don't know. Scaramouche, he has a lot of opinions, that man. I'm not really sure about it. And, I think that Donald Trump, like, he's a businessman. So, of course, he wants his dollars to work. He wants to maintain dominance because he has a lot of them. I just think that I feel like the next president, whoever it is, really has to point out what's going on in this banking system. We have 5 bank failures last year. NYCB is on the cusp of breaking down. It's at the stock, man. It's horrifying to look at. It's at levels from before I was born, literally 1997, Rob. And I'm a little worried. Do you think we're going to have another like March of 2023 come around again? Is this a possibility in your eyes?
Every time I think I know where the market's going to go, it does the exact opposite. So that's why a dollar cost average. That's why like everybody who, and of course there's always going to be someone in the chats who's like, well, I called the top here and I called the bottom here. Right. I understand.
Yeah, sure.
But how many, well, I mean, but okay, Randy, here's the thing. They maybe did, but my thing is like, how many times did you screw up and get it wrong? Because
exactly.
It's kind of like it's like when I lived in Vegas, I'd always ask my friends like, hey man, how was everything last weekend? Oh man, it was awesome. I won like $5,000 on the tables. It was great. Are you up or down for the year? Oh, I'm down like 50K, but you know what? Last weekend was great. So it's one of those deals in that situation. But again, like, could things collapse? I saw a post from Tom Crown. I think the S&P 500 just hit its another all-time high today. If I'm not mistaken, I'll try to find it. But I feel like we're going in the right direction. It's right before the halving. We've got 70 some days to go. Usually that's very bullish for our market. Now we've got massive traditional finance institutions in the place. We've got regulation, or good regulation around the world, not United States. We really suck at this. And we've got a lot of people who are behind it. So I look at it this is not like 2017. This is not like 2021. It's a whole new paradigm shift, and it seems very bullish and positive. But having said that, it doesn't matter, because who knows what the next black swan event is. Is World War III right on the corner? Is there another banking collapse? What's going on with China? Evergrande just collapsed, and of course they have a shutdown for their markets. So we don't know what's going to happen, but that's why I just try to take a longer outlook than DCA.
I agree 100%. I think looking outward, being able to be like, okay, if my bank shuts down tomorrow, do I have money that belongs to me? If, a natural disaster occurs where I live, can I pick up my money and take it with me? Which gold bars are heavy and fiat gets wet. So, you can't really carry that around if something comes and floods your house, but you could take out your Bitcoin. And it's just, I think what's also really important is being able to help people get educated on what it means to be your own bank. How do you feel about, self-custody? Because we're kind of like, the banks, depending on them. What do you feel about self-custody right now? Do you think we're on a good path for that and people are getting educated there?
No, I'll be honest with you. No. And I hate to say it like that, because let me rephrase that, Randy. The people that watch us know. And they know because of all the screw-ups that happened before. Like when I got in, Mt. Gox was on everybody's lips. They'd say, oh, Mt. Gox is, and that's why you show always self-custody. Like, I know better than you, because I just got here 2 months ago. I know I'm a tourist, but I can figure it out. And of course, what happened? Voyager, Celsius, FTX, BlockFi, right? And of course, we all learned, and now we are in this influx of understanding why it's so important for self-custody. A lot of people got it right beforehand, but not as many as the people that screwed it up. So now we're here. Moving forward, the people that come into crypto and digital assets, they are so used to the banks and everybody doing everything for them. They're like, I can't do this. I'm helpless lamb, and I can't understand how this actually works. You want me to custody my own? That doesn't make any sense. How am I going to do that? It's going to all get stolen. And it just takes a little bit of education to show them what it is and to say, hey, look, have you ever lost your passport? No? Well, great. Have you ever lost your birth certificate? Neither have I. So the stuff that you write down for your mnemonic phrases, you're not going to lose it either, because it's 10 times more important losing your passport and your birth certificate. So don't lose this because it's your entire life savings. Or we tell them, hey, you know what? Make sure that you diversify in your cold storage devices and keep it that way. So I always say it like this. There's a way that things should be, and there's a way that things are going to be. And the way that things should be is everybody should cold storage, and they should understand that if something happens, you are in possession of your money. You are in possession and you control it. But the way it's going to be is people are going to be lazy. They're going to shirk their responsibilities, and they're going to give it to the next bank that comes up and says, we'll custody that for you. And don't worry. And don't worry about fractional reserve lending, because that doesn't concern you. And you don't understand it anyhow, because we're smarter than you. And that's what's going to happen.
I mean,
sorry everybody, but
no,
that's just how it is.
I feel your vibe a little bit, and sorry about everyone in the stream. I don't know. I think the chat disconnected for a minute. Make sure you guys are smashing the likes before, because I know we got 88 people here. Let's make sure we smash these likes. Let's get 100 likes. Sorry about the chat glitching out. I think YouTube's been messing around recently, but I know obviously we're different age groups, Rob. So I want to know what do your friends and family think about Bitcoin and crypto, and do they conceptualize the thought of self-custody? Because I feel especially for people that are at least beyond 30, your whole life has kind of been ingrained, okay, I'm gonna have my debit card, I have my bank, and I'm always gonna be able to go to the bank. But what if that's not there? And I don't think people even think in that type of direction.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, and they don't think in that direction because they're kind of a little bit paralyzed by all the information that, because when you first talk about Bitcoin, you're like, blah. And then people are like, what? I didn't understand anything you said. So you have to kind of ease them into it. So for instance, what I did was I bought my kids Tangent wallets for Christmas. And I also got my grandson a Tangent wallet for Christmas.
Oh.
And I said, here's what, I'm going to send this to you. And when you get it, I want you're going to send me these wallets, the addresses. Send me your Bitcoin address. Send me your Ethereum address. Send me your Dogecoin, send me your Solana. So you know how to do that. They send those addresses to me. I ship them back, essentially, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and Solana. I said, now you're going to keep it. And you got 3 wallets, and you don't screw this up. But just to make sure, I kept one of those cards for me, because I know all of you kids something up. So make sure you have it. This is how you spend it. This is how you can use it. But what I would recommend is just keep it in a safe place and don't do anything with it. I'll see you guys in 2025. And that was it.
Wow.
And then I think that's the best thing to kind of do to get them in there, right? Because when you're trying to explain it to people, they're like, that's great. What do I do with this? And then in this situation, you just show them. And that's how I did.
How old is your grandson?
9.
9? Wow.
Yeah.
You're a full-on granddad. That's crazy. I wouldn't even think so, Rob. You look so youthful, man. And you are youthful. It's just 9 years old. Wow. And he understands what's going on here. Does he because he has to play games and all of that, have an iTunes gift card and spending money online, right?
Oh yeah. We play we'll play Minecraft every so often, or there's this one called Gorilla Tag that he loves to play. And if you're a parent, you probably know what I'm talking about. And we'll play that on the Oculus. He's in Houston, I'm over here. And yeah, we just do that. And then of course, he's for Minecraft. Oh no, sorry, not Minecraft. Well, Minecraft and then Roblox, where you use
Roblox. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So he
understands all that. Yeah, he's all on that. And it's easier for that generation to get really just so, oh, this is what it is. But he did ask me, he's like, so what do I do with this? And I was like, well, it's on your Tangent card. Well, how do I spend this? And I was like, well, it's kind of difficult because you need an exchange. He's like, I can't use an exchange. I go, that's exactly it. You're not gonna do anything with it right now. But I think at some point you'll have those devices and be able to actually do payments for something. So
yeah,
I can see it.
I feel down the line for sure. And there's going to be prepaid, how they have the prepaid Visas, the prepaid MasterCards in the store. I picture, one day you're walking in and you're going to go buy some digital tokens. Just even there's Fortnite gift cards. Why wouldn't there be Flappy Bird gift cards? And speaking of such, Rob, you have big things going on right now. So can you talk about before we get into the whole Flappy Bird Web3 gaming, why do you like Web3 gaming and what promise do you think it has for this space?
So I like Web3 gaming because first of all, Web2 gaming isn't broke. Web2 gaming does work. It works pretty well, actually, if you're a gamer. There's no, but there's different aspects that you could improve on it. And one of those things is you can own your own DGAs or digital game assets. And that's nice, right? Especially like and I don't know how many people are gamers here. And if you're like a Web2 gamer, you're like, I despise Web3 and I despise NFTs. I got you. I understand it because in 2 years ago, 2021, you're like, that's a cash grab. That's a money grab. And that's the same thing that these consoles have done to us and these developers. It was just a big money grab. Got you. The games back then sucked. Let's just be honest. The games moving forward are much better. And it's not this huge, enormous cash grab. You actually own your digital. Okay, here's an example. Let's say that you play Fortnite and you've been playing it for years, 5, 6, 7 years or something like that. Everything you spend on Fortnite, it's gone, right? So for you to sell any of your skins, your weapons, your whatever else, to someplace else, it goes against the terms of service. You get banned, and then these dark websites that you can use, I suppose. Or you could take all the things that you actually invested into it and sell them to somebody else. Wouldn't that be great if you're like, you know what? I don't want to play Fortnite anymore. I want to play League of Legends from now on, and that's just what I want to do. Wouldn't it be great to actually do that and move forward with it? So I think that's the whole thing. And then some people say, well, why do you need a currency? Well, why do you need V-Bucks in Fortnite? And why do you need Robux and Roblox? It's the same thing. Yeah. So in this situation, at least the token that you have in like Web3, they could actually appreciate. V-Bucks and Robux, they're not appreciating. And you really can't do anything with that. You can't do staking. You can't do revenue share. So sorry. So I get you guys, the gamers. I understand that you hate it because it was a cash grab. Look at the games now, and they're much better.
Yeah, I think definitely the games have stepped up. I think I say it a lot, that last bull market was very financially fueled, where, it was just all about the token, or, buy my NFT for $69,000 and then you could go play the game. Like, that is so insane to me that I was tuning out a lot of things, and there were a lot of people that just like came and left really quick, which happens, with new technology and things like that. But just like I kind of relate it to 2020 when Uniswap was first popping off, and they had all these like grocery store tokens like pickle, banana, and like all these random things. And did any of those coins really survive? No, probably besides sushi, but nothing really from there survived. But the whole premise of Uniswap and DeFi did, and it carried on to what we're experiencing now. And the same thing I think goes for the gaming industry, where in Web3 and specifically, it was very financially driven. It was very much about the token, very much clicker gains, very basic. And now we have like AAA rated stuff, Unreal Engine people are building on. And then you have the old games from Web2 that people are very familiar with coming back into play, like Flappy Bird. So can you talk about Flappy Bird and why you're choosing to bring this game back?
So it's a funny thing. So first of all, everybody should know that I am a founder of this project, and Flappy Bird, if you look at Flappy Bird, there's about a ton of clones out there. But two individuals I met, they actually purchased the trademark and IP of Flappy Bird, and it is registered with the USPTO, the Patent and Trademark Office of the United States. And they've also done a lot of work legally, globally, to secure that trademark. And of course, one of the big things was to bring it back to Web 2 on Android and Google in an updated way. So before anybody starts to scream at the screen, Web 2 is free. It's 100% free to play. Did I say it's free? It's 100% free. Web 3 is free. Web 2. Web 3 is also free. It's 100% free to play. Did I mention it's free? It's free. It's free in Web 2 and it's free in Web 3 to play. So I don't want to hear anything about like, oh, this is just a cash grab. However, if for some reason, like you say, you know what, just like we talked about with the skins on Fortnite, you want to own those skins, and you can bring them over to, as far as digital game assets, you can use the token to buy and own skins, traits, and upgrades. And you own those, and you can sell those later if you want to, as they appreciate. Hopefully they appreciate a massive amount, or maybe not, but you can still sell them on the market for whatever you want to. Also, you can buy access to these new worlds that we're going to be creating in Web3. Also, a third option is, I don't know if you like gambling, but maybe you could race your Flappy against other Flappy users and maybe win more tokens. And then lastly, maybe you want to stake to earn IP revenues, because the IP itself, we're taking it from the trademark and putting it onto the blockchain and making a DAO so everybody owns it. The whole thing with Flappy is it was taken down in 2014. It was taken in 2014 by a centralized individual, and we're not going to allow that to happen anymore. So now we're going to give it back to everybody else, and that will be Flappy Bird. And again, free Flappy on Flappy Bird Web 2, free Flappy Bird Web 3. Just if you want to use a token, there's some additional advantages.
And when is this token out yet, or what's the process on that? How does that work?
The game's going to come out. Well, first of all, it's going to be pretty fun because we have the working product already. You can actually play the game. I can't give the site away because we're going to launch that next week, and all the different communities are going to be able to play against each other. So let's say, Randy, you give away and say, hey, go play Flappy Bird on this. Here's the site. Let's say you go, Randy, and you get like 5 points, right? It's 5 points for Randy. Someone else comes after you, John, and John gets 10 points. Well, now the Randi Hipper community has 15 points, and everybody who plays, it's an accumulation of points. And at the end, we're going to give away a massive airdrop of Flap token, depending on how everybody does. Every single community will get Flap tokens, but it will depend on how much you get based on the rankings of the leaderboard. And we have 250 community slots, and so far we have 100 communities already slotted into there. So the week 1, then week 2, 3, 4, and every week Flap token. At the very end, we'll add up all the scores cumulatively, and then we'll give a special NFT away for the top 20.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And, I think keeping it free is very important because, like I said, I didn't like how I was priced out of a lot of games last cycle, or where it was just like they wanted me to pay to play their game when I don't know if your game is even good or if I even like it. So why am I going to pay to try something that I might not like? So I think definitely keeping it open, people come in, they play, they have fun, just like everything else, like a lot of Web 2 games where you come in, you play, you're like, okay, maybe I like this game, I'm going to invest a little bit, let me get myself a snazzy character, get myself some tokens and give myself some power-ups or whatever may have it. So I think definitely keeping it free brings down that barrier to entry almost 100%.
Yeah, and it's super simple. And then, remember, we're bringing it back to Web 2. The Web 2 games, even though they're free, you know that Fortnite was the first game to reach $1 billion free to play, and it did it in 8 months. Their first 8 months, they made $1 billion. How is that? Well, it's because of all the upgrades and the skins and everything else we just talked about. So when you think like free to play, it must be really nothing that went into it. Trust me, there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of actual funds that can be made. So for our Web 2, I mean, we're happy just doing what it is and keeping it free.
I know if I was betting on whatever it may be, I would lose a lot of money on Flappy Bird because I was playing it the other day, and I was at the gym, and I was in between my workouts, I was doing my little rest, and I was like playing it, and I was just losing, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. Like, I know why people were throwing their phones at the wall.
Yeah, it is addicting.
Into Web 3 is so fun.
It is addicting. It's a hassle. It's a pain sometimes.
Yeah, I'm very competitive, so I was just like looking at this. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna battle with people on this." I think it's super cool. I'm very happy you're doing it. You're bringing it mainstream yet again. I think giving that familiar face to people in Web 2, like, oh my gosh, Flappy Bird's coming back, but now you can do all these different things with it that you weren't able to do before. Great work, Rob. Great work. So, do you have any timelines yet, or are we just like sitting and chilling for now?
It should be next week. We should launch next week, and everybody will be able to play.
Fully?
Like fully. So when I give it out, so what it really will happen is we'll give you your password, which should just be Randy. But now I have to make it something different because I just said it. So we'll give you a password, and then you put it on your show or on Twitter, and you go, hey, go play here, and then they go play the game, just play as much as they want to. Doesn't matter. And everybody who accumulates the points, that's just better for the whole community. So everybody who plays, even if you get 1 point and you play 20 times, that's 20 points. That's all we want to see. We just want to see people come out and play the game, see what it's all about, and then go from there. So it should be next week, but you know how things go. Hopefully it'll work out.
So it's going to be on web first, and then is it going to be an app eventually on the App Store?
So the app is all the forms have already been submitted for Apple and Android, and we have a preliminary approval. Cool. But for this, what we call a Flapathon, it'll just be web-based. So you'll just go through your phone, you'll give a link, and it'll go right to the game, and it'll just start playing.
That is so sick. I'm so excited. So when you finally
Yeah.
hit the App Store, that's going to be a huge thing too. Do you think like you guys are depending a lot on the App Store? Or do you think you, like web-based is like okay for a while?
You know, Friend did a pretty good job without going through the Apple Store, but it just makes things a lot easier. And again, like from the numbers that we see, the majority of everybody is going to go to the App Store. And the
Yeah.
majority of people, and we're talking around 95% will probably be Web2 players going to the App Store, and that's it. We're trying to bring people over, like maybe the 2 to 3% that do the Web3, just to show them how easy it is. None of this like connect your MetaMask wallet in the background and try to, do some kind of secret code. Everything's going to run seamlessly in the background. So when you guys actually download the game from Apple and Android, it should be a seamless process as a wallet is made in the background. And that's just, I can't release too many details about that, but we're working with our chain, and it should be pretty easy.
Yeah. So on the app, are you going to have Web3 capabilities there, or are you keeping that strictly for web?
No. So you can't do like a Web3 app into Apple and Android, because
Yeah, because
Apple
they're
and Android
annoying.
are like, they're annoying, and well, hey,
They're
but they
annoying.
but they do give you a lot like a bullhorn. So what it'll be is, anything that's purchased on there, we got to give them 30%. And that's pretty much the shakedown. That's how Apple and Android work. But for the Web3 game, we can do links to it, we can do announcements to it, but it'll be a web-based type of game. And then of course the wallet will run in the background. But it won't be, if you've ever experienced, me personally, I do not like MetaMask. I don't like a lot of wallets
Yeah,
because
same.
they're very cumbersome to work, and then to create like the right chain that you're supposed to use and do all these side steps. It won't be like that. It'll just be like something that works in the background. You don't even know it's there, and it'll just be there.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Yeah, because I wanted to ask, I knew that was like a whole thing last cycle, and they were like, oh, yeah, like we want the fees, Apple, but how can you take like a fee from the blockchain? It's just not possible. So, it's just there's so many gray areas there that they won't clear up. I think eventually they'll have to, because, even Elon Musk and all these people are saying like 30% is way too much for them to take from anybody. That's egregious.
Yeah. It's egregious, but it's the game we play, and we're not here to sidestep Apple and Android, because I mean, even Fortnite tried that, and they went through a nice legal battle, and it cost them a bunch of money to go through that. And we're not about that. We're just like, hey, Web2 comes over here, we tease and we say, hey, do you like this game? They're the same games over here on Web3, but you can just do more things, and we'll show you how to do it. And then it's just, we're trying to essentially Trojan horse people to get used to the idea of owning digital game assets, moving over to it, using a wallet that's non-custodial, that is in the background that you don't even see. It's essentially a wallet abstraction. Just like how the internet, I'm old, Randy, so like before the internet came about, it was a big hassle to actually get on the internet. Now it's just seamless, and you just do it from anywhere, on your phone, on your computer, on your TV. It doesn't matter. And that's how blockchain and tech and digital assets should move.
Yeah, that's great for onboarding. I think that's amazing for onboarding. Even people in the chat are showing love for it, because it's very true. I think that giving people the opportunity to say, hey, like play this game, here's what you could do afterwards. And maybe even on the app, like if you can't give them Web3 stuff, like you could always like flag it somewhere, give an alert, like, hey, pop over to web to do A, B, and C, and give like a little video of like what people could do on the web versus in the app. To like, give a guide or something somewhere on the app, so that way people know and they could get redirected. I think it's totally really smart. People are going to love this. I already love it. I'm so excited for you. And I'm so happy like you thought about this and thought ahead and spoke to the right people to get this done. And the token, I'm wishing nothing but the best for that, and the utility to really shine through. I think we need more utility tokens, more examples of just really good sustainable Web3 ecosystems. That I think the tokenomics of a lot of projects were really shaky last time, and I'm very happy that because like you've been through all this, and as a content creator, like the minefield that is this space. So I think going step by step and doing things the way you have is just very good, and letting people
Yeah,
know.
it's tough because, like, I mean, we've built up our reputation. It takes a long time, right? It takes
Yeah.
years to build a reputation, but it only takes seconds to destroy it. So that's why you try to err on the side of caution and go from there. And no, we're not perfect. Yes, we've made mistakes along the way. We try to correct them and not do the same boneheaded things again. So here we are.
Exactly. And I'm so bullish on you, Rob. I think you're an amazing person. And I hope everybody agrees with me, as they freaking should. And if they don't follow you yet, where can everybody find you?
Usually on the beach. No, just kidding. So they can find
I
me.
will. That's so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a life.
What a life. If mostly I'm posting on X or Twitter. You can find me over there at Digital Asset News, or it's Asset News, or just do on YouTube, Digital Asset News. I should be the first one that comes up, and there's the links in all the descriptions of YouTube channels. I mean the Twitter accounts, X accounts.
Beautiful. So if you guys don't follow him yet, at News Asset on X, and then on YouTube, Digital Asset News, DAN. All links are in the live chat as well as the description. And we also added his website as well to the description, danteachescrypto.com, so you can learn about his blog and everything that he has going on over there. Where do you feel like this? That's
Thanks.
why I'm here.
Thanks for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me about
this is why I'm
website.
Here for you, Rob. Where do you think we're going in 2024, man? Do you feel bullish about this year? Are you okay with what's happening right now?
I mean, historically, it's kind of played out. I know people will say, well, the 4-year cycles are dead. But you know what? I heard that in 2017 when I first got in. And I was like, oh, well, it's dead. That sucks. Maybe I shouldn't really. And then, of course, the same thing happened. 2017, we hit an all-time high. 2018, everything dropped. And within a year, we were at the low point for that cycle. Then 2019, we had a recovery. 2020, we had a halving. And people said, it probably won't do too much. Maybe it'll do something, but it's broken. And actually, some people say it's not going to do too much. And some people say it was going to be a super cycle. And we're going to go beyond 2021, and it's just going to keep going up forever. And that wasn't true. So then we had 2021 all-time high. 2022, we had a monster crash. And then in November, what happened? All-time lows.
Yep.
And then we see in 2023, which is like a reset year. And now we're here in 2024 in the halving, which is 70 days or so away. Correct me in the comments. And it seems like we're kind of doing the same thing. It's just that, Randy, when I got in, there was legitimate talk about government shutting everything down. And they could do it because, there wasn't that many miners. And as far as like node operators, and there was just a nonstop ICO nonsense. And now look what happened. Look at where we are from there to here. Institutions, governments, actual legislation. We've actually El Salvador essentially made it not their reserve currency, but working, functioning currency. And that's never happened before. So I think if you're looking at like the more bullish thing, you can't get much more bullish than it is right now.
I agree. I think the use case is there. Peer-to-peer transactions, holding your wealth, storing your value, having property that no one can take from you, no censorship. And I think we need especially that freedom now more than ever. And I would love if you could give us a message, Rob, like from your heart. It could be about walking the dogs. It could be about a herniated disc, physical therapy, the sunlight, your green screen, whatever it may be. Let us know what you have sitting on your little heart for us.
Just know that all this stuff is great, everything that we talk about, but for all the things that we do and all the things that we try to aspire to, just know that there's one thing that you can't buy, and that's time. So make sure you're using your time wisely. It's not just about accumulating money and making a bunch of gains and stuff like that. It really is about the people around you, and it's about constant improvement and trying to improve those around yourself. That's it.
That was beautiful. And I know you can't hear it, but I played a little sound like a rain of love because that was just so gorgeous, Rob. Like, you're a gorgeous person inside and out. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate how chill and content you are. And I'm going to miss you when we go hyperbolic and you're just like not going to be there for me. But then I'll see you again during the bear, maybe in the bull. Me, you, the wifey, the family, we'll all walk some dogs on the beach and sip a pina colada. Do you like pina coladas, Rob? Are you a fan?
No, I'm more of a beer guy. But
beer guy? A Corona? Yeah. What are we going for here?
Whatever's on
sale. From the tap?
Yeah, from the tap.
From the tap? All right, he's a tap guy.
I'm not picky.
All right. So we got to get the basic brews for Rob. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't yet, smash the like, subscribe, share the stream out with friends. Be there on Rob's channel tomorrow for NFA Live at 9 a.m. with Coin Bureau Guy and Ben. What's up?
Yeah. Oh no, it's on Guy's channel at Coin Bureau.
Oh, you guys rotate.
Not my channel. Yeah, we rotate.
So head over to Guy's channel. His name is actually Guy. He's a guy that's named Guy, and he's a very, very interesting man. Make sure you guys go check him out. Have a great day, guys. Much appreciation for every single one of you beautiful people. Smash the like, subscribe, share this beautiful stream out with friends so people know about Rob and his beautiful opinions. And I will see you guys tomorrow, as always, Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern for the Daily Zest. Have a great day. See you guys tomorrow. And as always, stay zesty. Peace.